Good morning, 11 a.m. on Saturday, February 25th, 2023. And as I say that, I realize 2023. That's the first time I have spoken out loud today. And there I've got two audio confirmations. Move that over to this screen. I've got the streaming statistics up at the top of the screen to see how it's doing. Let's see, that says viewers dropped frames. Oh, that's hidden. I'm going to make an adjustment here. It's going to look a little weird to you for a moment. Why is that? Did that not go the way I expected this time? I think I got to make some other adjustment because you don't even see the dropped frames. Why would that be? All right, I'm going to go back to this weird screen again where all you see is that frame stuff and see if I can adjust that more correctly. Yeah, here we go. And let's actually see the total bytes too and the sending statistics. So that should work better. And then I'll go say hello to y'all in chat. In the chat room. Now, do I have that set up so that it will also show when I'm displaying chat screen? Yes, looks like it is. 0 drop frames. For those of you who don't know, apparently my internet is not quite fixed yet. Hello, Darren Gilholm. Hello, Jeff Ryman. And hello, Greg, wearing a Ken Stout Live mask, apparently. And Jonathan, Darren Hill Gilholm, and I guess that's the real Ken Stout live there. People saying hellos to each other. Jonathan asking for topics 7 and 9. So what in the world is topics 7 and 9? Where do I want to go show that at? That's not going to be the right place. So I got to come over here and into here. Yeah, here we go. So let's see what 7 and 9 is asking for. ChatGPT, hammers don't make good screwdrivers, but they can do damage. And the other one he said was, what now? 7 and 9. Defining desktop for end users. Yeah, okay. We'll get to those in a little bit. Oh, Rick, Ida, Jonathan, people saying hello to each other. Selden Ball, scanning through the names. No other topics there. I've got rain here in Fresno. Ida, wow, that's cold. It would freeze to my bones. That's referring to that 27 degrees, I suppose. Yeah, it is. Brian Lightfoot is in Zoom already. I'll be going to the Zoom session a little bit. Brian Lightfoot's going to be joining us in Zoom today. Let's see, Brian got see what I got here. 14 degrees above for Rick Lakes. Wow, that is cold, but he gets a lot of that. Ken Stout, Rick, Martin Hogg from Scotland. Tim Snow got snow here at 2 a.m. Did not stick. Tim's on the other side of town from me. I haven't seen any hail or white stuff here on my side of Fresno. Bobby Warren, hello. He called Jose. He said with my problem, he would have to come out with his supervision to reset up the modem all over again. To come out with his supervision. All right. I think there's some internet issues going on there. Bobby has told us about over a number of days. What is snow from Ida? Rick asking Tim if he got his computer working. I heard a little bit about that trouble. Bobby, your modem is the XB7 and there is a new XB8 out. Zavi Minor, Al Neo, hellos. That red Adobe black box is hard to read. How many elephants can you get into a mini 4? 2 in front and 2. Oh, we're back on that. 2 in front and 2 in back again. You know that I struggle with that. How many elephants can you get into a mini 4? 2 in front and 2 in back. And best I can conclude it has to do with the old digital calculators showing those blocky number number 4, right? The block letters number 4, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. Speedy C, hello. Stupid Brave browser takes 25 seconds for the live chat to populate. They're in no rush to fix it. Been like this since September. I'd like to know what number 9 is about. And 9 was the one defining desktop for end users. Yeah, that's kind of a fun one. Jonathan, Greg, Rick, Holder here. 9 degrees for Jonathan. CFWW, hello there. Catching up, just about caught up with chat. Speedy C, people saying hello to each other. Mary had a little lamb. The doctor fainted. Okay, I like that one. That's fun. Dennis, it's snowing here in the San Gabriel Valley east of Los Angeles. I retweeted Jay's 2 cents videos. Dennis is in Panama, not in San Gabriel Valley east of Los Angeles. Maybe he's just telling us about snow there, and I have heard about that. Ran Israel, Noirs, Hardware, hello there, and Wintermute, all caught up. So let's go over and bring Zoom up. I haven't turned it on yet, so I am going to have to configure it. The Live Windows Training, start that. Move that over to monitor number 3, and then punch it over here. And, I think I probably have the waiting room on by default. Oops, you got a black screen now until I get this fixed. I know that. Here we go. And then let's go see if we got participants in the waiting room. Nope, just me, no participants. Zoom is a lonely, lonely place. At the moment. Okay, then coming back here to chat, Mini can't hold water. ARJ's video. And Jonathan, my truck driver's son was in deep snow in Barstow when he called me this morning. Noir ran, even if it did, you have to get the elephants out first. From Dennis, Jonathan, was that you and Adam? God, I still can't say that word right. Adamant. IT's live stream earlier. Now,
hello, Doug, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, and I've got you on screen now. Hello, Alex Cheek. Hello, Chris Garrett. I get a laugh from Chris.
I think it's adamant, not adamant.
Say that again?
I think it's adamant.
Adamant. That's it. Adamant. Why do I have such trouble remembering how to pronounce that? Adamant. Like, he was adamant that it was important to, I don't know, get faster internet, in the words of Alex Cheek.
Well, now I'm not gonna have to say that anymore, since I already have faster internet. And the only way for me to get faster than what I've got right now is to upgrade. It would require me to upgrade my local network devices, because all of my devices can only support 1 gig.
All right, so I'm going to put that stream monitoring up here on the top of Zoom. That fits okay, I guess. All right, do either of you have topics to bring, or shall I move forward?
I don't, just that I got a new modem with AT&T. I can now access the configuration. So
you weren't able to access the configuration before this new modem?
No, at first we were thinking that AT&T disabled it, but AT&T said that was not true. It must have been a failed firmware or something, probably. Update. I
see. Well, I checked this morning to see if AT&T is available in my neighborhood yet, and it is not. So, all right. So let me come back over here to chat, catch up a little more, then we'll go deal with topics. Jonathan, to Dennis, yes, but it wasn't quite as interactive, yes, as usual, or he wasn't as active. Mike Wojcik, hello. Wintermute's giving me a correct pronunciation here for Well, he's giving the pronunciation here of adamant, 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 adamant. Okay, the way I would do that, the way I would say is add, because ADD you're going to have to pronounce as the word add, because that's like addition and subtraction. Add, mint. What's the best way? You could say mint, but that's not quite right pronouncing. Mint, adamant. Add a M-E-A-N-T, because that's meant. I meant something. I meant to say something. So there's no controversy over how to pronounce M-E-A-N-T. It's meant. So add, no controversy there. So adamant. I think that's the way I'll be able to remember it or pronounce it right. And Dennis, to Jonathan, I said one thing in there about Cooler Master cases, but Graham didn't see it. Ken to Wintermute, adamant. See, that's what I was always pronouncing as adamant and adamant. Like there's a singer, right, called Adamant, and I was always trying to pronounce it that way. And Dennis says, no, that's not right. Adamant. Before I got here, let's see, greetings, live on the road from Wintermute to Ken, asking Ken if he's on the road. Everyone going away from keyboard until I have food. Oh, Dennis to everyone. He's going away from keyboard. I'd seen that a number of times in computer speak before I looked it up and figured out what it meant. Bobby, you need to upgrade your modem. I seriously do not believe that. And when I keep explaining that over and over, people don't understand where I'm coming from. No, I don't believe that's the case. In fact, Comcast has confirmed I'm on their current modem. So, no, I don't believe that's it. About to be, let's see, Ken Stout, about to be on the road. Wintermute, LOL. Oh, that was me. Mint, essential working too hard. Like the word mint. Sorry, too late to the show. He prefers to be called Graham on chat. I hope you enjoy your new mini PC from John to Rick. Now, so I heard another doorbell. Let's see who we got.
Hey, Doug, I do have one. I don't think you should upgrade your modem, router, whatever you're using. But I do want to know, I am curious to know, what is your Wi-Fi range like on your current router? Like, how far can you go outside of your house and still be able to access your Wi-Fi?
I haven't tried. I don't care. So I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Never mind.
Yeah, I totally don't care about Wi-Fi. My phone is the only thing that works off of the Wi-Fi. Well, actually, the Amazon Echo devices work off of Wi-Fi, but I've got 3 of them spread through the house, and as long as they work fine and my phone works fine, I'm not worried about that. So Brian Lightfoot is here. Hello, Brian. Good to see you.
Good morning.
How are you?
Not bad for a Saturday.
Good. Now, I think you and I had some exchanges about a internet DNS. There's configuration issues that you got involved in, and we exchanged emails a few times, and I kind of dropped the ball on following up with that. Am I right? Am I remembering that right?
Well, you pointed me in the right direction, and it was all about email with my IP address being blocked. It took a little bit of research. I shouldn't say a little bit of research. It was a lot of research. It was easy to get resolved, and I've been kind of monitoring the situation for the past month or two, and so far, no problems. It was just a one-time event, and I could blame the host of the domain.
Yeah, so you have a private domain, a personalized domain.
Correct.
That's hosted somewhere, and what the thing is that you need to go and do some advanced DNS configuration in order to put in the security configurations that are needed these days for email to work properly. And so we had a few emails back and forth about that, and you did a beautiful write-up, if I'm remembering correctly. You gave me a detailed write-up, and I wanted very much to do a video on that, but it hasn't happened yet, let me say, because I knew I was going to have to refresh my education on all that before I could put together what I consider to be a justifiable video for it.
Well, if you remember, the Curious Brian kind of put you off. I said, I need to get a little education on all these new acronyms that were popping up about email. It's a whole new ball game out there.
Yeah, yeah. And I do remember you saying that too. So I think we were both kind of wanting to be able to study up on it a little bit before trying to produce a video on it. And I think what I had in mind was to do a recorded Zoom session between you and I talking through it, and then publish that later. And probably, well, I always try to avoid editing, but it would be available, or I would have the possibility of editing it to tighten it up and make it shorter, because the videos that we do in live streams don't appeal to a lot of people. That kind of video,
right,
I thought justified being more concise.
Well, I still have a lot of the screen captures while I was going on. And if you recall, the first part of the deal was my IP address is being blocked.
Right.
And I said, no, that's not true. I can send and receive email through my ISP. My IP address is not being blocked. Well, after a little bit of research, what that meant was the IP address of the mailbox at the hosted domain was being blocked. They don't tell you that. They just say your IP address is blocked. So I went down the wrong rabbit hole.
And then you also informed me, which I already vaguely knew of from a long time in the past, that my own domain is also showing as blocked. But it doesn't cause me any consequences. It would cause me consequences if I were interacting with my email account in ways that it mattered, which I think would be maybe through Outlook, through an older version of Outlook. I think my current version of Outlook works fine because, let's see, somehow I have Microsoft 365 involved in that, but it's not hosted by them. I don't know. It's a complicated mess, but actually, if you go look at the blacklist, my domains show up as
when it comes to email, it's a wonder that any of it works at all.
Yeah, especially when you get into personalized domain names.
Yes.
Yeah, if you're using a gmail.com, you don't have to worry about that stuff.
That's true.
Yeah.
I had that same issue or something similar when I was trying to set up email on my dad's business website that I configured completely from scratch. I tried to get email. I had it set up so I could send email, receive email. But my problem was if it was Gmail would not accept my emails coming from my email address, and other email providers like our ISP and Yahoo, they would accept emails coming from my self-hosted address, but it would go to the spam or the junk folder.
Yeah.
So I just said screw it and set up my dad and me a Outlook address and for that.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if I come across other situations where maybe somebody that has a particular email service or a particular filtering capability where we discover that my emails don't get through to them or opposite, and I may also find that with my clients. So putting together an instructional video about this whole topic that Brian encountered probably is a very valuable thing for me to do for my own education, to get that stuff locked in better.
The Curious Doug.
Yes.
Hey, Doug, speaking of something, how come you didn't get the memo for today?
And which memo is that?
Well, Alex and I both have on green shirts. What's with you with blue?
I am a bachelor. I have my clothes up in the closet. When I take a shirt off, it goes at the end of the line. The next day I put on the shirt that's at the front of the line.
It was the only clean shirt.
No, not the only clean. It was just the first one in line. And if you were to track my videos, I mean, a person could go back, you'll probably find that my shirts follow a certain sequence. And
Yes,
then,
I've noticed that.
and then they repeat. Yeah. It's the, what? Tried and true habits of a elderly bachelor. I'm not ready to adopt that word elderly. I'm going to go over here and chat and catch up. Z says, hi, Doug. Thanks for all the info you gathered for me to browse through. I've done most of them. Just think I've been unlucky with the 2 drives, both using Sabrent chips. This was, I think, Fridays. Was it just yesterday? That we got to work with his topic. As first name is escaping me at the moment. But anyway, that's where he was having the upgraded NVMe in his Microsoft Surface 8 Pro. And I saw your comment somewhere telling me he's got 2 different he's got this YouTube name and his email address as a different name is what he's clarifying for me. OCD, I think that must have been Jim's reference to one of the Dougs. I will be very late, got it 90 minutes ago from Jim. William Dawson, hello. Ken says we'll be hitting the road now. Well, for Doug, we are going to be driving. I will be listening in the car. And then hello from Mark. Yeah, that's right. It was Mark in Liverpool, UK. Chris saying hello to people. Skipping over some of the chit chat between people. Let's see, mini PC for Jonathan, for Rick. No idea, hope you're doing great. I agree, doing good. Color-coded SOS. Color-coded shirt of system. Color-coded, it had to be a reference to my shirts. Color-coded SOS. Shirt of service, shirt of systems. I don't know what the SOS stands for. John DeRick, I picked up an i3 8350 CPU with gigabyte motherboard with case and RAM for $40 cash. Wow, that seems inexpensive. And put it together, runs great. John Williams, good afternoon. So the topic.
I guess he got that off of the Facebook Marketplace or something.
Okay. Is that something you know of, or you're speculating?
I'm speculating that because he said he paid cash for it.
Oh, $40 cash. Yeah.
And it seems to me that he would have had to get that off of somewhere local to be able to pay cash for it.
Yeah, or face to face with somebody, probably. Yeah, because you can't be ordering it even through eBay. For cold hard cash, I don't know what.
That's the one downfall of online shopping.
Yeah,
you can't actually use physical cash.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to go back up and see what those topic numbers were requested. Was 7 and 9. That's the only topic numbers that I have seen requested. Only requested by Jonathan. So all the rest of you can just stop listening for a few minutes while I answer Jonathan's questions, since the rest of you don't seem to be interested in those topics. Just kidding. ChatGPT, hammers don't make good screwdrivers, but they can do damage. I just wanted to comment on this because I've seen other videos coming out criticizing what ChatGPT cannot do. And I just scratch my head. Why are you focusing so much on that? ChatGPT is a tool just like a hammer is a tool. So would anybody explain why a hammer doesn't work very well as a screwdriver, or as a drill, or as a hacksaw? ChatGPT has some things that it's useful for. Use it for that. The things that it's not good for, do we really have to identify all of those? I just was feeling a little frustrated with hearing somebody else yet again describing something that ChatGPT does not do well. Well, I guess we're kind of in the early stages of it, so maybe it is worth talking about. And I also wanted to mention that ChatGPT as a tool, yes, can be used by bad people to accomplish bad things. That's true with all of the software tools that we have, all of the hardware tools that we have. Everything can be used for nefarious purposes. So that's really all I was saying there. I just want to say, hey, lighten up a little bit, because people seem to come out with these. I've seen videos come out with these heavy criticisms about things that ChatGPT does not do well. And it's like, really? Do you have to make such a big fanfare over it? It's not, it doesn't work good for that. So don't use it for that. And then defining desktop for end users. This is something that I had happen yesterday, where I had a client, call about something that was going on with her computer. And I did not have her computer. This was her personal laptop. And I have provided support for her on her personal laptop before. But for personal laptops, I do not set up my unattended remote. What I do is set up an icon on their desktop called DougBetts Remote. And they click it on their end to initiate the remote connection. So I was on the phone with her, and I realized that I knew it was a personal laptop. So I said, is there an icon on your desktop called DougBetts Remote? And she says, no, it's not here. And I'm pretty sure we put it there. Are you sure it's not there? She says, no, it's not here. So then I have her go to logmein123.com and give her a 6-digit code. Not a big deal to do that again. So as soon as I get connected to her computer, I minimize everything that she has open, and boom, there's that icon right on the desktop, DougBetts Remote. So I point to it and I say, well, here it is on your desktop. And then she points down at the taskbar at the bottom and says, oh, well, it's there now. It wasn't there earlier. She's pointing down to the icon on the taskbar that is there because I am connected to her remotely now. When I am connected to her remotely, then there's an active program on the taskbar showing that. So when I asked her, is there an icon on your desktop called DougBetts Remote, I eventually came to realize she did not understand what I meant by the word desktop. Well, normals, people who use their computers to do their work, and they're not computer technicians, sometimes I forget, they don't know what the word desktop refers to. I think most of the people watching this video probably do. And just in case, I'll go minimize some things over here. This is the desktop. This area here, where there's the desktop background or wallpaper and these icons. So when I ask a normal, is there an icon on your desktop called Desktop Remote or DougBetts Remote? I'm asking them to look here. How do you describe that to a person without using the word desktop? How do you describe that this is the place that you mean without using the word desktop? I'm a little bit stumped for that. On the main area of your screen, would that work?
I would say the first screen you see when you first turn on the computer, before you open anything else, like if you're starting the computer up with code shutdown.
Okay, and how about if they're thinking that means the logon screen where they put their password? Or the manufacturer's splash screen that comes up earlier. Now, I think you're close there, Alex. When you start up your computer, not everybody has a password amongst my clients. So some of them, it just comes right up to the desktop. Before you launch any programs, all the icons are on your screen. All those icons that are on your screen before you launch any programs. Would that do it? I think...
No, not necessarily, because my mom likes to have all of her icons hidden on her desktop.
Yeah.
So the only icons that are visible on her computer, if you're looking at the desktop, are the ones that she's pinned to the taskbar, like Word, Excel, whatnot.
Yeah. So let's see. Here's a couple of responses in chat. It looks like I'll give. Let's see. There's some other things about the hammer stuff. Well, I'll go through these. Let's see. Mike to John, great deal. It was on Craigslist. John's computer was on Craigslist. Okay, so he probably met with the seller, and so that was a face-to-face. Wintermute to Ken, let Lorna comment. Watch the road and have a safe trip. You could dictate your comments to Lorna. That's right. Every tool can be a hammer. Yeah. Well, let's see. I have used screwdrivers as hammers. Take the butt end of a screwdriver and hammer it on a thumbtack. Yeah, that's using a screwdriver as a hammer. Can't say that I've used a hacksaw as a hammer. Well, I could say that and may not be being honest with you, but I could say it. John to Mike, they were going to build a Hackintosh, I was told. They tried but failed to do it correctly. That was in relation to a previous conversation, I guess. The tech news cycle will go soon on the next big story. I wonder how any search engine handled the question, which came first, the chicken or the egg? How does ChatGPT handle that? What came first, the chicken or the egg? Shall we go look? Not unless somebody else asks me to. Martin says, Doug, do you recall my customer's problem with Ninite download being blocked by McAfee? I solved it by downloading the file to USB drive on another PC, then running the installer for the apps such as VLC. Got it. Well, that's a good solution. Mike to John, probably had a piece of hardware not compatible with Mac operating system. They had an Amiga, it was on the workbench. If they had Amiga, it was the workbench. Oh, that's from Brian. I'm losing that one, Brian. What did that mean? You're muted, Brian.
No, the Amiga used what they call the workbench, which was equivalent to PC or Windows desktop.
Yes. Instead of desktop, they had a word called workbench. Yes. Okay. I vaguely recall that.
You know, if you're doing stuff like Oracle, SQL databases, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They call the program you use to access that. They call that workbench. Like it's called MySQL Workbench.
All right, got it. Yeah, I think if Windows used Workbench instead of desktop, we'd probably still be struggling with explaining to an end user what Workbench
is. It's already hard enough as it is. We don't.
Yeah, I think desktop is fine. I wonder sometimes when I say, "Do you see an icon on your desktop?" Is anybody looking at their desk down?
I remember that video that you did a while back with your brother when you were setting up a laptop for your brother.
Yeah.
And every time he was trying to use the computer, he would touch the screen. Even though it wasn't a touch screen.
Yes, that was my oldest brother Tom. I've had him on the channel. I've had my second brother Stan. My youngest brother Bob has never been on camera with us. But yeah, Tom, he kept trying to touch the screen. You're right.
That's how you copy a floppy disk. You just put it on the Xerox machine.
Yes, there you go. Ida Rivera says, the first thing I say to users is close everything and then look at your screen. Okay, close all the programs or minimize all the programs. Do they understand what closing a program means? And I had another occasion with somebody yesterday. Actually, it was that same... it was that same client. She was telling me that a board member for her company was complaining that the Zoom session for the board meeting was still on her, well, I'll say device at the moment. When my client first talked to me about it, I thought she was saying that the board member's Zoom session was still open on her computer. And then yesterday, she sent me a screenshot of a calendar item for that Zoom session. And then later came to confirm that screenshot came from her board member. And the board member was complaining that is still on her smartphone. And so I talked to my client. I said, well, if you mean that the calendar item from that Zoom session from several days ago is still on her calendar for that day, if she wants to get rid of that, she can press on that calendar item, hold a finger on it for a couple seconds, little menu pops up, and then press delete to delete it from her calendar, because all that means is it was a Zoom appointment on her calendar back then. But I'm thinking that it also might be that the Zoom session is still open. The Zoom app is still open. So then it's going to be a matter of exiting that app, closing that app from her smartphone. And a lot of smartphone users don't understand that when if I ask them to close an app, they just press the home button on their phone. Well, it's closed now, right? Because I see the icons on my home screen. No, it's still running in the background. How do you explain that to a normal that doesn't realize they've got all these apps still open on the phone in the background?
Maybe you can help me out with something. Maybe you can help me out with something on Zoom, Doug. I've noticed that recently, since Zoom updated, I used to have an option to show my connected time, show the amount of time I've been connected to a Zoom meeting, and it would show the timer up in the top right-hand corner of the Zoom window.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't do that, but I can no longer find the setting where it used to be.
Huh.
Can you help me find the setting?
Okay, I'll poke around a little bit for that, and maybe somebody's going to Google it and give us the answer to it.
I just updated yesterday, and I'm looking at the time right now in the upper right-hand corner of my Zoom screen. It's there by default.
It used to be a checkbox under the general tab. It says show connected time, but now I can't see it.
No, mine appears right on the video screen, and a little teeny square in the upper right-hand corner.
I'm looking there, but all I see is where it says view, and then you click on that, it says speaker gallery. That's all I see.
I know the screen went blank there. On Zoom, I'm working to fix that. There, it's back.
If I mouse over it right now, it tells me 25 minutes or 26 minutes. It just kicked over. There's no right click menu on it, so I don't know what I can do with it.
Do you have to mouse over it to see it?
No, it's there by default. I was just saying if I do mouse over it, I thought maybe another menu would come up, or if I right clicked on it, another menu would come up, but nothing else comes up. I'll poke around to see where that's an option.
Okay, yeah, I went in, and now I'm displaying actually my monitor number 3 so that my video doesn't mess up again. Looking in here to see if there's anything there about it, but I probably should just wait for somebody to find that instead of.
I'm running version 5.13.7, which is the latest version, if that helps any.
Yeah, and I don't see the time. And I don't recall ever noticing the meeting session time.
I had it check marked before, and then it seems that since they did an update, it disappeared because they're doing an update to Zoom all the time.
All right. Yeah, I'm not seeing it offhand, so let's give somebody time to find it. I'll go back onto the chat room. Coming down to the bottom, did you get some snow? What's the issue? I don't see anybody answering that at this point. Close user. All right, so RAN Israel, the big area where all the symbols are. Would you use the word symbols or the word icons? Do normals understand either of those words differently? What on your monitor's screen? I don't know how or why someone would not understand that. To be fair, there are things I don't understand. So yeah, again, some people will ask, what is an icon, right? Essentially, working too hard says on your computer screen works for me. John Williams to Mike, it would not boot once I got home, removed all the hardware. They had not installed the CPU kernel correctly, shorting out the motherboard. Oh, so was that the computer that was bought for cash? off of, oh, now I don't even remember the name of that. But anyway, is that computer that was bought for cash? You had to fix it. How about the wallpaper? LOL. Yeah, I don't know if people understand what wallpaper is either. Wintermute. Call nerds. What is desktop? So let's see what he's saying here. What does computer desktop mean? What does it mean? Does it mean this, the desk? First, the desktop is just the top of your desk that your computer sits on. Most people don't refer to this desktop when they're talking about your computer, though. It's this desktop that gives the second use of the word desktop its meaning. The desktop computer means one that sits on your desk as opposed to one that sits on your lap, called a laptop. And then there's also notebook. A handheld computer would be a phone or media player. So many different ways. So are they actually giving us a solution here? The most common use of the word computer desktop, not a desktop. It's the computer desktop, not a desktop. Computer is part of your computer software, especially. Oh yeah, right. Get out of here, chat. I've been their website chat. Specifically as part of the operating system, whether you're looking at the computer's background image, you're looking at the desktop. Yeah, you can't really explain all that to a normal when you're giving a phone support for them. I think this is just showing the quandary, isn't it? The dilemma to technical people when you're talking to non-technical people. Lucky didn't do any damage to the motherboard from between Mike and John. Rick to Tim saying wallpaper to some people throws them out of the boat. Now, if somebody were to translate that into a foreign language, they probably would not understand that.
Okay, I found it. I found it.
You found it. All right. Tell us
Still
about
there.
it.
It's still there. They just changed the name of it,
All right.
like Microsoft does on everything. It used to say underneath the general tab, it used to say show connected time with a checkbox. Now it says show meeting timers.
Show meeting timers. So where do I go to find it so I can show the audience?
Under the Zoom settings under the general tab.
Zoom settings under the general tab. So I'm going to click on, I'm open up the menu for video and then video settings because that'll get me into Zoom settings and then general tab. And so it's in here. Always, what did you say? Oh, show meeting timers right here. Put that check mark on. All right, got it. Now it shows up here in the upper left, upper right. So pilot.
Why they have to change it around, but they did.
Yeah, change is what they do, right? Somebody got paid a lot of money to make that change, implement that.
If they didn't change stuff and stuff stayed the same, they wouldn't be making no money because there would be nothing for them to do.
Right. No improvements, no changes. Hello, Jam. Welcome aboard.
Hello.
You got anything to bring to the table or just here to participate?
I have nothing to bring. I am very late and I pulled an all-nighter last night, so I'm kind of like a vampire on a day pass right about now.
All right, we won't look real close at your eyes then.
Well, I'm going to turn the camera off because my lunch is right here and I'm not going to eat in front of everybody.
All right. Well, yeah, you can eat in front of us, just don't let us watch you. All right, going back to catch up with the chat room. Greg says, I asked them to tell me what icons are on their desktop and listen to what they tell me. I just have to wade through their dead air. Yeah, when you first ask them that, tell me icons are on your desktop, and you just got dead silence for a little while. Well, they try to translate that in their head to what you mean for them to do, what they think you mean. And then when they start reading things off, if they start with the on the left-hand side, they tell you there's this 4-boxy thing in the bottom left. Even if they might not tell you the bottom left, they might just, in response to your question, they might say there's these 4 rectangles. And do you realize they're pointing to the start button? Jonathan says, ChatGPT says the egg came first. Well, there you go. That's the authoritative answer. Alex?
I have my own answer for that question about the chicken and the egg.
Okay.
Since you just brought that up, the biblical answer for that is the chicken.
Okay, I got you.
If you're a Christian, the answer is the chicken because God created all the animals, which includes chicken and the chicken makes the egg. So
that's a fair response. I can appreciate that response. Now, I kind of thought that what comes first, the chicken or egg? I might say the grill. Fry up the eggs or fry up the chicken. Brian laughed at that, but he was on mute, so he didn't hear it. Adita Kumar Gupta says, what's the issue? Well, we don't have one single specific issue we're dealing with today. So whatever comes up through our conversations or the list of subjects that I have in the description of this video. John Williams asked did I get some snow? Well, Tim Sowell says that we did get some hail in Fresno, and I think it probably looked like snow, but I never saw it on my end of town. Yeah. Although I do have window coverings that I'm not always seeing what's outside. But I do look out. When I hear something that seems unusual weather, I'll go look outside, out through the window. Adita Kumar Gupta says, open the Zoom app on Windows or Mac. Step 2, tap on the profile icon, upper right corner. Go to Settings. Step 3, navigate to General, show meeting duration, and enable the options. So that sounds like pretty close.
That was old. That was old. They updated it since.
Oh, it's not quite the same anymore? Zoom app
that
on
show
Windows.
meeting timers. It's the same.
Profile icon, upper right corner. Yeah, see, I don't even have a profile icon in the upper right corner.
You do if you're signed into Zoom. It's just if you don't have a picture on your profile icon, it will just show up as your initials.
Okay. Yeah, so it would show up. That would be something before I even launch the meeting, I guess, or before I launch.
Yeah, it's just something you don't usually pay attention to, probably.
Yeah,
Did you ever figure out if you have a business account or residential account for your internet, even though I know you don't really care?
I did not, but I could go pull up my statement. I won't put it on screen. Let's see if I think I've got a shortcut saved for my Comcast. Oh, they sent me an email that I'm about to reach my data limit for the month.
I feel sorry for you.
Yeah. Well, now the reason for that is because I've been doing some unlisted test streams. So I'll start an unlisted test stream and let it run for hours. One of them ran 9 hours. So I'm chewing up my usage there. But it told me that I've just about used up all my data usage for February. But it looks like I've got plenty left over as long as I don't do any more of those long unlisted live streams.
I didn't know Cox would throttle their customers.
Well, this isn't Cox. This is Comcast.
Oh, Comcast. I'm sorry.
Xfinity. And
that's news to me.
Yeah, well, it's news to me too, but I've done I think I've really used a lot this month.
They actually did something. I saw a video a while back from somebody he said they actually did something. Comcast did something. They did a miraculous thing. They upped the limit from 1 terabyte to 1.2 terabytes. Yay!
All right.
Which I'm being sarcastic. I can still see how much data we've used if I log into my provider's app on my phone or on the computer. But as much a bad reputation as my ISP has, there's one good thing about them, or two good things. No throttling ever, or no data caps ever. It's completely unlimited.
Well, I couldn't have even told you that I have a data cap because I've never encountered it before. Never had to the best of my recollection, I've never had an email from them before telling me that. So I'm getting a security code now for logging into my account. It seems to me like if I have a business account, I think I've seen those statements before where it's identified as a business account.
That must be the data cap thing must be a cable internet specific issue, because I've had DSL and fiber with the same provider, and any of the other DSL or fiber connections I've used also have never had a data cap. But the only connection I've heard of that ever has a data cap is a cable, like a coaxial cable connection.
All right. I squirm a little bit at guilt by association. If you come across a couple instances where somebody that has a coax cable has a data limit to say that it's because of the coax cable, that's kind of a guilt by association. It might be true, but I kind of squirm a little bit when I hear that.
Wintermute has put a link to Xfinity's facts about their data usage plan.
Okay. At the moment, I'm trying to get to one of my statements, and got a little bit stuck in a circle here. If I ask for the current statement, it's not giving me an actual statement. It's giving me a web page of my internet activity. And off of that email that they sent me, I could go show you what it's telling me about my data utilization. Here's the statement PDF, so I'm downloading that now, and then I'll either, if I can arrange it so that I can display it without showing private content, then I'll do that. But here I'm seeing it. Let's see, there's numbers. Yeah, there's my actual address. I'm not going to display that. And then I'm going to do a Control F and search for the word business, BUSINESS. Nope, the word business doesn't appear anywhere on this. Residential does not appear. So it's kind of making me think that it is a residential service, but they do call it gigabit. And on the, let's see, can I show this? Let me see if I can position this screen to show you this.
Which is a, I don't know what you call that, a misnomer or whatever, because it's not actually true gigabit. What I have is true gigabit.
Yeah, well, this page here is identifying what they mean as up to 1,000 megabits per second. And they have met that obligation. They have not exceeded 1,000 megabits for me.
All the ISPs, like no matter what provider you got or what connection the service is, they all like to use the words up to for the residential.
Right.
There's no actual contract between you and.
Called covering your ass.
It says they have to keep up. If you have a business plan, there's a contract between you, and then it says they have to provide X amount of speed, and it has to be up X amount of time. Like it has to have 99% uptime or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so here I'm going to display this page because it is, well, I guess maybe it's my account number, right? Could that cause any consequence? So I'm concealing the account number. Here we go. Here we go. So here's regular monthly charges, $93.85. The Xfinity plan, $70. Xfinity services, $103. Here's the word gigabit on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side says internet download as fast as 1,000 megabits per second. This shows a service included in your package. You save $33 this month with your contract and automatic payments discount. There's the contract discount showing there. 12-month, $23 contract discount that will end November 30th. So that must mean that I signed up for that in November 2022. And a $10 automatic payment discount, paperless billing, Peacock Premium, which I guess, no, it says 0. So it's a $4.99 value that I'm paying $0 for. So that was probably automatic. I do not watch any TV. Actually, on my television set, I'll go choose Netflix or even YouTube, but I don't watch any broadcast TV anymore.
It's possible they can be including that Peacock service as a freebie thing. So if you don't want it, I would watch your bill and make sure they don't try to charge you for it and cancel it before.
Yeah, it might be after that year that goes away. And you know what? It seems to me that I turned off or canceled my TV service. This is the prior bill, and I think maybe I might have done that recently. Public education. There's a rental equipment, internet equipment rental here that I think could be for a long time, for years, there was a rental charge on my account that was for a piece of equipment I no longer had that I'm pretty sure I returned to them and they didn't get it off, but I think it might be off now. Streaming TV box rental. So that's TV box rental that I'm paying for. So
But you don't need it if you don't have.
Well, I think that might not be on my current charges. So that one that I was looking at was ending. Oh, that was ending February 28th. So that is my current. It's possible that I canceled that TV really recently, though. Now let's go. I'm going to go see. Oh, here it is. Here's this email that they sent me. Let me see, checking this to see if there's anything private. No, this looks okay. So here I'm displaying this. Here's the email. You're getting close to exceeding your internet data plan. So far, you've used 75% of the data included in your plan for February. So this is February 25th. I've got 25% left. And I'm not going to do any more of those 9-hour unlisted live streams. I think I'm probably going to be fine.
What's your limit? A terabyte?
Well, here it shows it. We're letting you know because your bill can be impacted if you go over your 1.2 terabyte plan. To monitor and track your usage, visit. When I click on this, it shows me my usage. So I'm gonna click on that and check it for private content, and then. Now this is weird. Every time I click in here to go to something, it says this page is not working. Then I have to click on reload and it comes in. And waiting for it to populate.
Update your Google Chrome or whatever.
I would have thought that that's been happening automatically, but we'll go look at that in a little bit. So here's what that came to. 275 gigabytes remaining of 1229 gigabytes monthly plan for those days. So here it's showing what I've used in February compared to my prior months. You have a one courtesy month to exceed 1229 gigabytes without charge. So even if I exceed it this month, it looks like I won't get charged, but I'm guessing I won't exceed it.
And according to their facts, once you've used up your courtesy month, and on a next month you still exceed the 1.2 terabytes, you will be charged $10 for each 50 gigabit blocks that can be added. $10 per 50 gigs.
Yeah, I'm displaying that now when I floated the mouse over the letter I there. Pretty much exactly what it says. After using one courtesy month, if you exceed the plan, you will be charged $10 for each 50 gigabytes of additional data provided, but charges will not exceed $100 for each month, no matter how much you use. You can also purchase our unlimited data option. Now, I had a similar thing happening with my Verizon cell phone, and they were going to charge $10 more for the next block. And I had the option of switching to a higher plan, that was going to commit me to $10 more a month every month for that same higher amount. And I decided, well, no, I'm not going to make that a regular. I'll just pay that extra $10 when I exceed it, because there have been times in the past when I used a lot excessive, unusual high amount on my cell phone, like if my internet was down or if I was traveling, something like that.
What's amazing to me, now that we've been talking about all this, what's amazing to me is you're one person in your house using all that, but you do a lot of live streams and everything, a lot more than I do. But I've got 3 people in this house, 15 devices, including a security system that records every time you walk out of the house. And according to my ISP's app right now, if I look at my data usage, I've used about 415 gigs.
The other place where I get to the edge of exceeding my allotment is with my security system. Because if I select to do some extra recordings now and then, or if I have my camera set to trigger too frequently based upon motion outside, I'll get a warning that I'm exceeding my limit from them. So I've had
your security system works similar to the way mine does. In fact, it automatically uploads to the cloud everything. It doesn't upload everything locally. I mean, mine stores it locally, so the cameras will work if the internet goes out, but if the internet's on, it will automatically go to the.
When we were having problems with a mailbox thief across the street from me, I set up my own security cameras with a DVR in my garage, and was reviewing those tapes so that I could get full-time recording. I was recording 24/7 because I have a view of the community mailbox across the street from me. And just a little aside story, I actually got a video of the guy, close-up videos of the guy and his license plate, and turned it into the police and the postal, what do they call it, their law enforcement branch of the postal department, and went through a whole long story with them, and they wound up finding the guy, finding where he lives, identifying him and everything, and then dropped it. The bosses just didn't want to pursue it.
If we ever get rid of our current security system, I would prefer to have a security system with the DVR locally, because you can get a system like that has a DVR locally that you can also access it through an app on your phone or whatever, just like we do now. It just wouldn't be, the cameras just wouldn't be tied to the security system. I hate this security system we've got. All
right, I'm just catching up with chat without reading out loud everything. I'm gonna read these at the bottom here in a moment. Kind of skip over things. There's more about the show timers. That's good. Windows Keep and D for desktop, because that's going to minimize everything that's open, so that gets them quickly to the desktop. That's a useful thing. I've used that a number of times. Yeah, it was Craigslist that John bought that computer. If they know what icons means, they already know what desktop means. Yeah, perhaps. I'm not quite going to assume that. Jay posted that on chat. Constant is the only change. Depends. Topic 6. Somebody's got a Noir's Hardware has asked for topic 6. I don't remember his name. I know that was Nowhere Badria, I think was what I came to learn was the right way to pronounce his name. So topic 6. Black Serendipity, last Windows updates loaded multiple sound drivers, Realtek, Logitech. Now my speakers are too low even at master volume at 100%. Oh, that's interesting. This was the one that Brian told me about, Winter Mute. Including this link, what will happen if I use more than 1.2 terabytes? So we've already covered that. Black Serendipity, update to NVIDIA sound driver as well. No data cap on fiber, no data limit for Spectrum. If you had asked me weeks ago if I have a data limit, I would have said no. My ISP in Panama has no data limits that I'm aware of. That would have been a more correct answer for me a few weeks ago.
Hey, Doug,
Yeah.
I wonder if Kerry has any data limits. I mean, he runs into these 3-hour sessions
Well,
frequently.
he might not know because he's using he's told us he's using his neighbor's internet connection. So he
He's
doesn't see the bills.
He said before he's actually using 2 internet connections. He's using one internet connection for his live streams because it's faster. He's calling his neighbors, and he's got his own personal internet connection, probably a hotspot, or I don't know exactly, but he's using some combination of 2 connections. One he's got and one that
Well, I
the
think
neighbors for.
my recollection is he told us that he used his cell phone. He'll set up his cell phone as a hotspot and let a computer connect to it. He's done that sometimes when the neighbor's connection wasn't working right. But you can also get a hotspot device associated with your smartphone service. I've had that. And you might ask, well, why not just set up your cell phone as a hotspot instead of having a separate hotspot device? And my answer to that, and Tim Sal did this with me when we had a pilot training session where I had my hotspot servicing the internet connection for 4 computers. That's a little awkward to do with your cell phone, particularly when I want to carry my cell phone with me around the airport. So there are use case scenarios where you might want to buy a separate hotspot device, even though it's operating off of your same cellular phone service, because that hotspot can be operating at the same time that your smartphone is in operation.
And using that hotspot on your cell phone does 2 things. It makes your cell phone hotter, and it drains the battery really quickly. And
Right.
if you're on the phone at the same time as on a computer that's using the hotspot, you got the phone up to your ear, and you don't have your Bluetooth earbuds in. The phone can be like an oven.
And of course, it's wearing down the battery, so you'd want to keep it connected to power. So,
That's what I had to do here recently when they shut that account off for 10 days. I had to keep the phone connected to power so I could use the hotspot for my computer.
When I first started using hotspot connected to my cellular phone service, at that time, my smartphone was not able to function as a hotspot. So I got started with that kind of early, and I would go in to my clients' offices expecting to use my laptop on my hotspot because back then most of my clients did not have Wi-Fi in their offices.
Did you not connected your laptop to their Ethernet connection?
No, because that would chain me to a particular desk, and I wanted to move around from one desk to another. So I didn't want to connect it to Ethernet. In those days, my laptops did have an Ethernet port. Now I rarely turn on my laptop when I'm in a client's office anymore because I will use my cell phone to access my OneNote records or Excel records for my client. And I don't seem to do that very often because I'm doing so much of my support remotely these days from here. So when I go into their offices, I don't need a laptop anymore. All right, let me get caught up with chat. 500 connection, 300 megabytes connection, cut the cable years ago. You have 1.2 terabytes data cap. Well, and define cap, it means I'm going to get charged an extra $10 when I exceed that. So I don't think of it as a cap. I'm going to get charged more if I exceed it.
Yeah.
I don't think
if it was truly a cap, they would cut you off.
Right.
Completely cut you off.
Or perhaps throttle me. They didn't say that they would throttle me. They're going to charge me more. If they're going to charge me more, then I'm presuming they're not going to throttle it. Throttle meaning slow down the performance. William says, do you have a cable box for your television? If so, turn it in, as they will keep charging you for the box. Even not used on your bill may drop when you turn it in. Now, you asking that question, that clarifies in my mind that yes, I did turn it in, because they sent me new boxes, new equipment. I think it was a couple of years ago, a year ago. It was probably a year ago when I renewed that contract, that 1-year contract. And so, yeah, I took in the cable TV box. It was still wrapped in the saran wrap. I had never unpacked it. So
I hope
yeah,
you got a receipt for it when you turned it in.
I did. But it looks like for February, I'm still charged for it. Now, that might have been just a couple weeks ago that I turned it in. So it might not, I might not have had another bill since then, but I need to remember to go look at that. And I know where I put that receipt.
Good.
Yeah. And that is in part due to what I mentioned, that I a few years ago, there was an extra charge on my account. I went in and argued it with them, and they said they took it off. And now I'm thinking maybe they actually did take it off. Do they give a courtesy month? Yes. So we have seen that after Wintermead asked that. Dennis, looks like they're charging $9 a month for not using your TV box. Yeah. So I think that's going to drop off. But I need to remember to check on it.
You have a local office there that you can actually physically go to if you have a problem,
Yes.
Doug?
Yes, and that's what I did. I physically went to them to turn in that box.
See, I don't. Well, my grandma does. With her cable provider, she does, but I don't.
Okay. Let's see. Postal inspectors. That's right. It was postal inspectors that I was interacting with regarding our mail theft. See a warning on the Xfinity page about Netgear CAX30 routers. Is that your router? No, I'm using the router they provided. I don't have any extra router. You saw me playing with an extra router, that one that Kerry sent me, but that's no longer connected. Kerry uses a bridge to his neighbor's ISP provider, correct? Let's see. Yes, the only good ISP in the area, AT&T, offers 1.5 megabytes. Last time I checked. Oh, okay. I got a story to tell you about my internet here. So the last thing that I reported to you was that it was fixed, and I think that was on Thursday. I think it was Thursday. Thursday is when I didn't broadcast at all because I had a headache. So it was Wednesday. On Wednesday session, I told you that it was fixed because they sent me a voice message, and I recorded it, saying that they fixed something on their end, and that if my problem is solved, I should cancel the appointment. That would have been Tuesday evening that they gave me that voice message. And then I did not cancel it right away. It tested fine for the rest of the day on Tuesday. Wednesday morning, I did my fortnight live stream and my live Windows training, my Windows Daily broadcast. Those worked fine. So after that broadcast on Wednesday, I canceled the appointment that was for Wednesday. They were expecting to come out about 12 to 2 p.m. on Wednesday. So I canceled it. Later Wednesday afternoon, I was doing a remote support session with a client, and it got real flaky. The connection dropped, and it reconnected, and dropped and reconnected. So I did a speed test, and sure enough, numbers were bad again. Below 1 megabits per second upload. So, oh, geez. And that would have been, Wednesday. Now, so I developed a headache that night, right? Why? So, but now the rest of the story there. So I made another appointment. I went back into their system. Now I knew a little bit better how to navigate through and get to an agent and request an appointment. And I got to a conversation with an agent, told them the problem's still here. They said, okay, we'll schedule someone to come out. We have tomorrow available. You want morning or afternoon? And I chose afternoon. So they said 12 o'clock to 2 p.m. Thursday. Well, I wake up Thursday after having a headache all night, overnight, and I cancel my live streams, right? My first live stream was supposed to be at 7 a.m. for Fortnite, and I canceled it. I have an appointment with Xfinity. They're going to, Comcast, Xfinity, same thing. They're going to come out between 12 and 2 p.m., right? They showed up at 7:49 a.m. Remember, I can hear the doors on his truck outside, and I'm about to pull up my security cameras because I always have the shades drawn here so they don't give me weird lighting problems.
I can't help but laugh. The same thing happened to me when the guy came to install our fiber.
All right, let me finish my story.
8 o'clock in the morning.
So I hear him come up to the door. I hear the doorbell ring. The doorbell doesn't always ring because it's a wireless bell. I go open the door. I'm not dressed for I'm not camera ready dressed, but I'm decent. So I open the door and he's there, Comcast, hours early, right? So anyway, we talk and he goes check some things outside. So he replaces a coax cable from the box out on the side of my house, and it runs through a conduit out to a terminal that's in the front yard, my neighbor's front yard. It's right at our border. And so he replaces that whole line, coax cable, and we have conversation. We talk about some things, and I ask him, well, what if this isn't the solution? Well, then he says we have to look at the wiring from the box on the wall into the router in here. So I'm got my fingers crossed. I don't have a lot of hope for this because I don't think the diagnostics are pointing to that, because my upload speed tests using Comcast speed tests, the numbers are great, always. The only time they're bad is when I use some other speed test, which goes outside of the local Comcast systems. So I think it's a problem between some piece of equipment they have to the outside world. But I don't know. I might be wrong. So then I feel optimistic, but then since then I have had one bad test that I'm pretty sure I have it captured on video. So, but so far every live stream I've done is fine. And you can see at the top of the screen right now, it says dropped frame 0. So it's, and on the right hand side, you see the send number. That is a portion of my performance tab, task manager. It's the upload number that comes from the Ethernet. Well, I can show you if I go to monitor 3. It's here in task manager on the performance tab and click on Ethernet. Down here, it's this send number right here. That's what I have captured on one of my scenes so that it shows at the top of the screen there. So you're seeing the live numbers there. That's how much my computer is sending with the live stream and with Zoom.
I got some good news over this a few days ago. They finally sent their contractors out to bury the fiber cable in my backyard. So it's finally buried. It's finally over with. I don't have to worry about it ever again.
Good. Yes, and I did hear that in listening on Ken's channel. I heard you report that.
That's a big sigh of relief for me, so I don't have to worry about it being ran over or cut or something like that.
Did they show up within the time window that you were expecting them?
Yes, but this is crazy. I'm the primary account holder for the internet account since they mess everything up. I'm the primary now. I put my mom as the secondary. Well, they were supposed to text me and email me before they show up. They were supposed to text me. Well,
Yeah.
They show up. I'm hearing it, their machine outside my window. I go in there and ask my mom, "Are they here to hear the cable?" She says, "Yeah." I say, "Did you get a text?" Because I didn't. And she said, "Yeah, she got a text. She got a text, but I didn't. And I'm the
Oh, she
primary
did.
account holder."
Yeah, she shouldn't have got a text. Hey, but that reminds me, I got another piece to tell you about this Comcast visit. So when he finished with his work, I hung out with him out in the front for a little while, and I was surprised he wasn't in any big hurry to leave. And I said, "Hey, I'm not complaining. I'm just curious how your scheduling works. You were supposed, I was told that my window was 12 noon to 2 p.m. And here you showed up before 8 o'clock. How did that come about?" And what he told me was a real surprise to me. He said, "I have no awareness of that. They don't give me times. And as a matter of fact, I don't know where I'm going to next. That's why I'm still here. They haven't given me another place to go to." He's just fed one address at a time to go to. He doesn't have any control or impact over when he goes where during the day, and he's not given a time. He was given my address as his first service call, and he showed up 11 minutes before 8.
Yeah.
That
explains why mine showed up so early, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. They don't know. I am really surprised, both with Comcast and I've seen it with Amazon, how their scheduling of their drivers works. I had a delivery I was expecting from Amazon, and I don't understand how this works, but sometimes they have a link for me when I go check on my delivery status that actually shows where the truck is, and I can watch them driving around to arrive eventually at my house. So I was watching this truck, and it said on the screen, on my computer screen, it said, "You are next," and it's showing where the truck is right now. And I watched that truck go all around different crazy paths, stopping a minute or two here and there for an hour. And he was heading towards my neighborhood, and then he turned away from my neighborhood. And I figured, well, maybe he's going down in that direction for a short bit, and he's going to come back. No, he kept out there for a while, and then it just vanished. His truck just disappeared from the map. Still saw the map. And there was a point where it said, "Your driver's delayed. It's going to be a little while." It was like an hour that it said, "You're next." Then it says your driver's delayed. It's going to be a while. And then it was like 9 p.m. and the truck just vanished. And my delivery was said that it was supposed to be arriving before 10 p.m. So I'm usually in bed by then. So I'm staying up for it. I had stayed home all day long expecting this delivery because it'd be delivered today before 10 p.m. And I was watching that all day long. I didn't get to see the truck until evening, about 7 p.m. or so on the map. And he never did show up. The next day, your delivery should arrive by 10 p.m. Did not show up. Next day, your delivery should arrive by 10 p.m. Did not show up. And then I got a message saying, "If it doesn't show up tomorrow, you can cancel the order." Want to bet? I can cancel it right now. I did wind up canceling the order, and I reordered the item, and it came within normal delivery time. So that was just totally weird. And I just don't understand in this day and age with the truck GPS and such, I would think that they should have software that's telling their driver where to go next, and that it's not up to the driver to pick his route. So I don't know what was going on there. That was just totally weird.
My transportation works the same way. They don't know where they're going to be going until they get there. Because sometimes they got their tablets in their vans, and sometimes they'll get a while I'm on the van, they will get a ding. Their tablet will go ding, which means they got to go pick up somebody else before taking me wherever.
Oh, yeah.
So they kind of work in a similar fashion, you know. They don't know.
Are you able to watch their progress on the map?
Not for my transportation drivers. No, I'm not. Only way to communicate with the transportation company is to call their office.
Well, Uber can do it so well. You know,
they have to, and then the office has to reach out to the driver. Now, the funny part is, on all the drivers have tablets in their vehicles. Now, every tablet, when they go to pick up somebody, it'll show their address and the person's phone number on their tablet. But the drivers are forbidden from calling the number.
Oh.
From calling the customer. They have to reach out. The customers have to call the office, which is the most ridiculous, stupid thing.
Yeah. Well, I've done Uber many times, and I've been very impressed with their system. You can, once a driver is assigned to you, you can watch their progress, and I can see them. I can look at my phone and see them coming down the road. And I don't understand why Amazon and Comcast can't do similar type of information, you know, to us.
In my case, even if Uber was an option in the small town, which it's not, even if it was, I have a feeling that I wouldn't be able to use it because it's not wheelchair accessible.
All right. Well, in order to make it wheelchair accessible, some Uber driver would have to have a wheelchair accessible van and be able to put it into the Uber system, but I don't know if that's a thing. Let's see. So Jonathan, Josh, Fortnite channel, Alex, hi, William Dawson. You're lucky they came at all little along the wrong time. Sometime the cable gets water in it, and they did run TDR, TM domain return test on the connection. Kind of struggling with that, but he did find that there was water inside, and the cable that he pulled out, he said, was very old. He said it was 1980s vintage, and the connectors. I think this community was built significantly after 1980s. I think it was around 2000. You're lucky they came at all. Yeah, because it was about 10 years old when I bought into it. So yeah, I would put it around 2000. You're lucky they came at all little along the wrong time. Sometime the cable gets water in it. Did they run TDR, TM domain return test on the connection? No, he didn't do any testing. He just replaced the cable and he was done. If TDR was something for that technician to do when he was out here, no. Yeah, I didn't see him with any equipment, and I was occasionally going out and watching him and talking with him. Brian, your next translation, we might make it today or we might not. Yeah. If Amazon deliveries show up after a week, here Amazon uses independent contract drivers. We get their own vehicles to deliver parcels. I have seen cars out here that look like private cars that they're driving for Amazon. I have seen rental trucks. I have seen Amazon labeled trucks. I have some of my Amazon deliveries come by my U.S. mail carrier. Even on a Sunday, the U.S. mail carrier will come out even though they're not delivering mail, and they will deliver packages. We've had the full gamut. The one thing I have not had anybody roll up on a bicycle with a delivery from me from Amazon. So,
hey Jim, what is going wrong with your camera?
Oh, it doesn't like being plugged into the front USB 3 port. The extra cable length is screwing with it. Oh. But I don't have a spare 3.0 in the back, which is one of the reasons why this thing is replacing the current streaming machine.
Got it. John Williams, I was waiting for Spectrum to arrive at my house at 9 a.m., but showed up at 3 p.m. with no notice at all. I had lost TV and internet. but they had my cell number to call. Yeah, these services do not have their act together. I canceled my Amazon Prime today, was not making enough use of it. Boy, I use it.
Me too.
I have seen UPS deliver Amazon packages. Yeah, I have too. Let's see, what is Wintermute giving us here? Time domain reflectometer. Yeah, I'm sure if he would have done that test, he would have told me about it, because he was clearly aware of my interest. And we did a little shop talk. He knows what I do for a living. He knows my 2 YouTube shows. Domain reflectometer is an electronic instrument used to determine the characteristics of electric lines by observing reflected waveforms. It can be used to characterize, locate faults in metallic cables. It can also be used to locate discontinuities in a connector, printed circuit board, or other electrical path. Oh, yeah. Now, okay, so here.
I'm sorry, I will tell you why he didn't bother to do that, because by the time he set the damn thing up, he replaced the cable.
Yeah.
It's easier problem solved.
Right. And I think he recognized right away. In fact, he told me he recognized right away when he looked at the box on the side, when he saw the color of the coax cable. He says, we haven't used that in a long time. Which was black, and I think the color they have now is orange.
Yeah, it does deteriorate. Even in ham radio, you should be replacing your cables about every 10 to 15 years.
So I wouldn't be surprised if what he did improved my condition some, but it's definitely not solved. Now, here's a question that I have for the community. So many of you have your favorite speed tests sites, and I've done some of the other sites, but my main thing that I focus on is there's such a big difference between what I get on Xfinity speed test and any other speed test. And I was wondering, these other speed test products, I know some of them you can choose what location you're going to test with. So what I'd like to know, is there a way for me to use one of the other speed tests and tell it to utilize my local Comcast node, or whatever the term is? See how high my download speeds. This is consistent when I use their speed test, which some people have been saying that the speed test sites pay for better tests, and I don't believe that. I don't think you have data to support that. If you do, show me the data. Don't just make the claim, because you sound like a conspiracy theorist when you do that. So here's the upload test at 18.7. How did that compare to this? 15.9. What I'd like to know, is there another speed test that I can tell it to do this test? Let's see, this is going Sacramento. So what I'd like to see is can I show a speed test that says when I use the Comcast site, I get good numbers, but when I use anything outside of that, I don't get good upload numbers. Now, of course, the important thing is to do it when I'm having trouble. Right now, the trouble isn't significant enough to make a difference. So there's, what we got? 18.7 upload, and this one 15.9. That's not much of a difference. Now, when I was talking to this tech that was out here to do the service, he said he would expect my upload to be 35 to 45 megabits per second. I don't know how well informed he is. Because in my conversation with him, I could detect some gaps in his knowledge. He's been working for Xfinity about 10 years, he said. And he was a little bit of a smart Alex, too. Smart Alec. In the sense that at one point I asked him about the connector out under these bushes out on the front of our properties. And I can't quite quote it, but he said, yeah, the signal comes from the branch to your house. And I was totally falling for it. And I figured that branch is their terminology for that junction box that's out in the front of the yard. But then it became apparent that he was pulling my leg and he was trying to get me to believe that that coax cable was connecting to a branch on that bush.
Mm-hmm.
And the signal was coming in through that bush.
My guess is that he was about my age.
Yeah, maybe 5 years older. Well, no, you're like, what, 27, something like that?
I'm 29.
29. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, he clearly looks about your age, and you've been working for them for 10 years. But, what was it? I'm trying to remember what our conversation was. That my impression of these, many of these technicians is they're just trained up to do what they need to do. Oh, I know what it was. When we got into the conversation about their, let's see, I made some notes of the terminology that I picked up from him that I didn't know before. Let me go look at this.
Oh, this would be the technology curious Doug.
Oh yeah. Well,
sometimes known as the OCD, Doug.
It depends upon who's talking. If it's Jim talking, then yeah.
The technician they sent out to install mine was about as honest as you could get to me. He said, I don't understand any of the networking lingo or anything like that. All I know to do is I'm a contractor, and all I know how to do is run the cable.
Yeah. Okay. And that is my impression. And I'd say this guy was honest, but he gave me some terminology that I didn't know. I'm sure I wrote that down somewhere. I just got so many notes here.
Did he bring up the word D-slam?
I don't think so, but that sounds familiar to me for some reason. Okay, so I'm gonna try to talk to this from memory because I'm not finding that. This piece out front, I'll just call it terminal, and then he said that usually this type of box would service 8 homes, but here it's only servicing 2 homes. We were able to look down the street both directions and see the similar boxes on other properties that clearly they were each in this neighborhood servicing 2 homes, but he said they would commonly service up to 8 homes. Then the next piece of equipment that those connect to, he gave me the name of that box. I'm not remembering it. And then that box would connect to another box that would service larger, a larger territory. He was giving me the names of those sites, but he said that it's he's residential. He works in the residential service. And the service that handles the next level box is called the network department. And then the next department above that, they call installation. So it's the technicians. And he said that we technicians in the residential, we are on the bottom rung of the ladder. We are he didn't say dog meat, but basically we're
grunts.
We're grunts, yeah. We're the runts of the litter. And so I was trying to fish to see if he had any knowledge about the other equipment, what the network folks do in servicing their equipment. And he clearly had no awareness of that at all, just that that's what they're called. And these boxes, these terminals that have the connections that then go to the box that's on the side of the house, that's the area that he works with. After this live stream is over, I'm going to find my notes because I came straight into the house after that conversation and said, I got to write this down.
You asked about other speed test places that allow you to change servers, right?
Yeah.
Well, speedtest.net lets you do that.
Yeah, I knew that I've seen them. So I'm going to go to speedtest.net right here and see if we can replicate speedtest.net. Connection single Comcast Xfinity. So this is showing Sacramento right now. That's showing Comcast Sacramento. So theoretically, that ought to show similar numbers to what the Comcast.
Yes, but you can go where it says change server and anytime you want.
Yeah. Okay. So then I would change to the server that the Google speed test. Now this download is showing similar to what Comcast was showing. So I think this is exactly what I was wanting to find. Comcast speed test was claiming to be Comcast Sacramento. And anytime you run one of these tests, just even sequentially, the numbers are rather significantly different. But here we have 926, 18.7, 942, 19.46. From my perspective, those are pretty much dead on the same. So if I change server to what is Google using here? San Francisco Bay Area. So if I change this one to use San Francisco Bay Area, see if I type it in. San Francisco, several San Francisco choices here. San Francisco Comcast. I'm going to avoid that. So I don't know if we can tell which of these that this Google speed test was using. San Francisco Bay Area, nothing more specific there. So I'll just go with the first one there and see if that's significantly worse. So when I do a speed test wants to know your location. All right, I'll allow it. If I do, particularly when I'm having trouble, if I try to replicate the path that my live stream is going through, would I get similarly bad results? So now this is in the 800s rather than 900s. Oh, this is 19.15, so that's still pretty much the same range as those other two. But the significant thing here is I'll capture that into my awareness to use speedtest.net to do comparisons when I'm having troubles. Typically when I have troubles, those troubles last for a while. At the top of your screen, you can see that XSplit is showing 1 hour 43 minutes, which is an accurate time. I've had XSplit sometimes lie to me about how long the live stream has been going. I'm getting pretty close to ready to wrap this up. Let's go catch up with chat. Yeah, speedtest.net from Rand. Thank you. Speedtest.net. Test against Comcast. And never use ISP speed test since you are simply hitting a server on the ISP network. Well, the reason why I'm focusing on that and interested in that, because if I get good speed, even when I'm having troubles, when I'm having bad live stream performance, if my speed test to Comcast is good for download and upload, what that says to me as a diagnostician is that the problem isn't with the wiring in my house. It's the connection from the local Comcast services out to the rest of the world. Is anyone going to say that does not make sense?
No. Now when I go to speedtest.net, by default it connects to my ISP's own server.
And
Also.
that's what we saw for me. It was doing exactly that. So when I'm having trouble, I will try that.
Yeah.
Speedtest.net to somewhere else.
Just for fun, I went to speedtest.net the other day and tried to connect to China. Needless to say, it didn't work.
All right.
Because their firewall is probably blocking it.
Have you tried Speakeasy speed tests? Now, what is the purpose of trying that one, John? There's lots of speed tests out there that if there's some specific capabilities or something that it does, why are you suggesting that? Right now, I have what I have a focus is that I'm very attracted to is the Comcast speed test, the Google speed test, because I've used that for years. It's just quick and easy to get to. And then this speedtest.net where I can change the server. Is there something else that Speakeasy, some other capability gives me? I'm not interested in just having a dozen different speed tests. What's the point? Speed test by Ookla, global broadband speed test. They offer 3 more places to use. Well, this speedtest.net is far more than 3 places. So another service that only gives 3 other places, I'm not interested in. If that street side box is serving only another house, does that house have internet issues? I haven't asked her yet, but I do know her well enough that I can easily ask her. But they don't do any live streaming. I know that for certain. She's a widower with 2 small children. So I've never had any issues with streaming video, Netflix or YouTube. I mean, the only things that sometimes I'll get buffering that might have been a result of a very short-term download inadequacy, but generally my download is plenty adequate for everything they might be doing next door. Speedtest.net offers Fresno as a testing site. It looks like it has very broad range of testing sites. Since I was able to type in San Francisco and get multiple different sites in San Francisco, that was impressive. Hello, Alias Tabay. Ran Israel exactly test against ISP to check the last mile and against external source to check the ISP's performance. Now then, if I am able to further substantiate that testing against Comcast, well, I didn't even realize it was Comcast Sacramento, but apparently it is, because they actually told me that over here, right? This told me, yeah, Sacramento. I had assumed until I saw that just now that it was a Fresno site, but I'm getting all the way to Sacramento with good numbers. But when I do a trace route to YouTube, I think it goes through the Bay Area. I don't think it goes through Sacramento. So when my live streaming is going to YouTube, if that's going through the Bay Area, then Sacramento is pointless, isn't it? So let's go do command prompt and let's see. Trace route to youtube.com. Of course, when I'm live streaming, I don't know if it's going to the same place that this trace route will go to.
Doug, here's something for you. If you're on, when you finish doing what you're doing, if you're still on speedtest.net, when you go to change server,
yeah,
and ask you to use a box where you can search, type in the word "you." You'll be able to do a speed test, I think, in London.
There you go.
On speedtest. Let me follow with Jim first. On speedtest.net, is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah,
so
speedtest.net. When you go to change server, there's a search box. If you type in the word "you," you'll find a U fiber out of London.
Okay. U-Fiber. Yeah. Edinburgh.
Well, there should be 3 of them. There's Edinburgh, Manchester, and there should be London.
Scroll down, and there's London. Yeah. And go. That.
If you have even an inkling of where you might want to go, you can search for it.
Yeah, that's very impressive to have that much flexibility. I was pretty sure that capability exists. I just didn't know which service did it. So yeah, these upload numbers are, download and upload are significantly worse, which seems to make sense.
And Doug,
Now,
I have a suggestion for you.
Okay.
About your trace route and your YouTube live
Yeah.
stream. If you go to your studio, YouTube, it will give you URL. Like it'll be something like rtmp://a.youtube.com or whatever. Try that. Try that URL in the trace route, because that should point you right at where you're going to right now to live stream.
Oh, okay. So go to my studio, the live studio here. Let's see.
Go
Here's
to where, if you was going to do a live stream, go to where you would be at, where it says like connecting to before you start the live stream, go to like where your preview is there. And you see that link down there?
Okay. Our RTMP stream URL backup server. So
try copying that RTMP and seeing if you can do a trace route to that.
All right. I like that. And so this trace route showed that I'm going through Los Angeles. And now that I see that, I do recollect having seen that before. So then we'll do trace route RTM. I should not include the : / right? Wouldn't it start with the A dot?
No, I would leave the RTMP in there because it's a different protocol. Instead of your normal HTTP, it's a HTTPS. It's a different protocol too.
Okay.
I would leave that in there.
So it said unable to resolve target system name. So I'm going to try it without the / live2. Still unable. I'm going to try taking out the RTMP : / This one works. Yeah, so I did have to take that out. Now I'm going to bail on that and try this again and do it with all the way out through the live2, so that here I'm doing it this way: trace route A.RTMP all the way out to the / live2, unable to resolve. So I got to get rid of the / live2. So looks like this is the way to do that. And it's showing me the IP address that's going to. Now, if they're doing, is it possible they're doing some kind of load balancing where this trace route might be a different IP address than what the stream is actually going through?
It's possible. I'm just saying that is the best. I would think that is the best way to get, if you want to get directly to where you're live streaming or as close as you can, that'd be the best way to do it.
No, I think I've got one better. I think I can do you one better on that. Sysinternals. With process monitor, because I can see the actual IP address that the live stream is going out to.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be better.
Yeah. That sounds very attractive. Let's see, where do I want to pull that up from? I wonder if I can just procmon, right? I think that's PROC. Spell it right. Yeah. Here, so just doing a Windows search in the bottom left corner, procmon64, open that. So yes. And then turn off the registry activity, turn off file activity, leave the network activity on, turn off process and thread activity. So now I'm just getting network activity, and then turn off the capture so it pauses here. So here's XSplit, TCP IP send. Here's to sending to Comcast. Let's see, Comcast, bunch of Comcast stuff, Chrome, Zoom. Okay, so I'll right click on XSplit and choose include this process name. So I'm only going to include XSplit items. So that should eliminate everything else. I guess that eliminated some stuff, but I'm still seeing a lot of Zoom. Let's tell it to exclude the process name of Zoom. So it's still trying to accomplish those two requests. I haven't seen anything go away. Did I do this right?
But Doug, in normal interest or normal usages of the internet, once you hit return or click a mouse, those packets that go off of your machine, you have no control over where they go.
Right, I have no control, but this is going to tell me where they're going, because this is actually watching the processes and showing me the IP addresses of where they're going.
Well, if you do a trace route, it's only going to show you that route at that moment in time.
Agreed, that's my point.
If you repeat that trace route 5 seconds later, it may have a different route because one server was busy and says, send those packets elsewhere.
I'm told
so you can get different trace routes from within 10 seconds.
And that's my point. That's why I'm going this way, because this method is going to show the address that the packets for my live stream are actually going to. This is not, and each time each packet that goes out might take a different route. This isn't going to show me the route of these packets. It's just going to show me that, well, now this is to your point, I think, maybe. It's going to show me that best the IP address that these packets went to, but that doesn't mean that's the same that the next packet goes to. Am I describing what you're saying there?
Well, a trace route is going to send out 3 packets. That's the way it works. 3 UDP packets to the target.
Yeah.
Now, how it gets there, it could go this way, this way, this way. And then once you do another trace route, it may take a different route to get there. All depending on how busy the internet is.
Yeah. Well, I'm acknowledging what you're saying about trace route. What I'm saying is that this process monitor should be able to show me where my YouTube live stream is going to, not trace route.
Yeah.
But I'm not finding it. So let's see. Here's I see Zoom is going. You know, I guess, is it just showing me the first? Oh, here maybe this is it. Like this Zoom packet here. UDP, because it's not TCP. We know that video goes by UDP. And there's no error correction. But this 144.195.219.78, I'm thinking that this is indicating maybe my first hop is going to ca.comcast.net, and the eventual destination is this 144.195. So what is that? If I do ping, let's get this down to where I can see both screens. 144.195.219. Sorry, Ken Stout, I know this is going over your head.
It's the stuff that everybody uses and complains if it don't work, but the stuff that nobody cares about.
Right. Good point. Now these requests are timing out. That would just mean that IP address is configured to not respond to pings. And that was for Zoom. That was not for YouTube. So that one's not going to tell me much. I could do traceroute to that though. Because even if it
It
doesn't,
could be that if you have an IP address like that and it times out that their server is not allowing ping requests to come to
right.
that server.
I think that's what I just said, isn't it? Yeah,
Well,
because
I didn't hear you.
all right. And we see a whole bunch of that. But of course, that was Zoom. But why have I not seen this limit? When I do right click on XSplit and choose include process name, that should limit or reduce this list down to only showing me XSplit stuff. And it's not doing that. Do I have to restart the capture? Let's do that. Restart the capture and then auto scroll. And I'm getting XSplit in Zoom. I don't see the auto scroll happening. Something I'm not doing right.
Are you doing a trace route to Zoom?
Yes. That last IP address was a trace route to Zoom.
Are you coming up with 170.114.0.12?
No, actually I was using the IP address that the Zoom.exe was sending to. So it's a different IP address than what you're seeing for Zoom.
Well, I just typed in trace route to zoom.com, and then it responds tracing route to zoom.com in parentheses 170.114.0.12.
Well, I'm sure Zoom has lots of different IP addresses.
That's the point I was going to get at. So I wonder if my Zoom is going to the same Zoom as yours is.
Oh, I'm sure it's not. In fact, I know it's not because I can see the IP address that my Zoom is going to.
I'm looking at my trace route. I don't even I don't recognize any of these hops that it's going through.
Yeah. Well, a lot of my hops for the trace route to that Zoom IP address are coming out request timed out.
Right. I'm getting that also.
Right.
But the first 10 hops were to, I have no idea what it is.
All right. Well, I'm going to go catch up with chat here because some people may be giving us some real useful information about this. It's independent of offers multiple testing site. Chris is going to log off now, be watching on YouTube. My trace route ended up in Los Angeles. Yes, and I have seen that before once I saw it on screen. So we saw speed tests from Xfinity going to Sacramento. And then I thought I needed to go to San Francisco, but actually now that I saw Los Angeles, that's been common for me. Just needs a domain or IP address. My understanding is that the IP addresses themselves can be load balanced. Yes, I'm sure that's true. RTMP for RAN gets resolved to IP6 and IPv4. I think I have my IP6 turned off. Correction, many IPv4 addresses. Dennis, I'm pausing your broadcast, taking a nap. You paused it, aka it's not auto-scrolling. The name on the left is you, assigned by Comcast. Use NS lookup. Did unpause procman, static screen, Zoom com. Okay, so, oh, I see it scrolling now. There it's scrolling. Now it looks like I'm getting XSplit and Chrome and Zoom. Now, if I right click on XSplit and say to include only that process name, and the scroll is still going, am I now, let's get down to the bottom. See, here's, oh, when I clicked on it, the auto scroll turned off. So I click on the auto scroll button and that should resume auto scroll, but it's still giving me Zoom and Chrome and XSplit. Okay, I'll click on one of these. That should automatically stop the auto scroll, and it's not. Maybe if I right click on one. Yeah, that's holding there now. Still have drop frame 0. Yeah, nothing in here for YouTube. This is showing an IPv6 address, right? Is that what that is? All right, so can I do a trace route to this address? Take off the colon and the port number. There. So this is the address that XSplit is sending to. I'm not hearing anybody in Zoom. Are you guys still there?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
we're still here.
All right. And I went back and looked at my drop frames to see, am I still streaming? Yeah, so this trace route to that. Oh, that's not an IPv6 address. That's an actual URL address, .net. Yeah.
Well, you can force IPv4 on traceroute. Just type traceroute -4 and then your target.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I'm actually liking what they did here because this is also displaying the IPv4 IP address of that URL that XSplit is sending to. So I would think that this IP address showing here would be a YouTube server. Traceroute complete. Okay. Nothing there identifies as YouTube. So let's see, was it, how do I resolve that IP address to the domain name? I know that's very basic. I just don't know it offhand.
Yeah, I got the same result as you. Traceroute complete, but the last 5 were request timed out, and 10 of them before that were request timed out. So,
all right. Oh, NS lookup. I think that would be it. NS lookup. Can I do that from here? Do I need to use MX Toolbox? Yeah, I know I can get the information I seek from MX Toolbox. That says it's Comcast. That IP address that it's going to is a Comcast. So that is not YouTube. So so Process Monitor has not given me the YouTube site server that it's going to. I look more at details. Do I get it? This is the let's see, modules. Oh, these are modules. That's not the actual packet. Maybe I have to use, my brain's going mushy again. I'm not thinking of that. Wireshark. Wireshark would give me the whole, oh, here's the stack. No, this is, what, a module stack, process stack. This is still not the full content of the packet. This packet right here is a length of 3,633. It has a start time. It has an end time. It has a packet ID number, 6404. But I don't actually see the contents of the packet through Process Monitor. I'd have to use like Wireshark. I don't have enough remaining energy to do that now. I am 9 minutes and 18 seconds over my limit of my endurance.
Now, this is what happens when you let OCD Doug take over.
And proud of it.
all right, Doug, I got one quick question for you,
Go.
or for anyone else that can answer it.
All right.
I have an addiction. It's called YouTube.
Oh, I thought you said you have an eviction, as in being kicked out of your home. You said addiction.
That might happen too.
All right.
I have an addiction to YouTube.
Addictions sometimes result in evictions.
I hear that. Here's the question.
All right.
Why are the settings on the various YouTube channels that I go to not sticky? What I mean by that is, like yesterday, I go to Carrie's site and I'm going, God, are my glasses dirty or my vision getting bad? And I look at the setting and I'm watching it in 360. So I change it to either auto or 1080p. I can come back tomorrow and it might be 480, it might be 360. Why are the settings not sticky, or am I the only person suffering this problem?
I have some immediately thoughts to respond to that, but I don't know if they're correct. I've seen that too, and my presumption is that it's happening automatically via YouTube, where particularly if it's a live stream in progress, where YouTube is processing the video before they turn around and send it out. And if they're sending it out to you with a really ultra low latency, they might be sending it out before they have the higher density image available. Now that's a pure speculation. I have no evidence of that, but I have seen that I can, typically when that happens for me, it happens when I first start watching a live stream, and it could be happening when I have multiple tabs open. So the amount of content coming through to my browser might be somewhat strained, and so the browser might be automatically choosing a lower setting. Whether it's YouTube or not that's doing it, I don't know. It could be from the browser side. I found it to not be consistent, being sometimes it comes in at highest density, even when it's a live stream. Carrie's shows, I don't think he uses ultra low latency. I think he's usually using a higher latency capability, and you could tell that if closed captioning is available on the live stream. With ultra low latency, closed captioning will never be available during the live stream.
I'm looking at your YouTube channel right now.
Yeah.
I click on settings and hey, mine says auto 720.
All right. Can you manually choose higher than that?
Sure, I can click on it. I'm at 1080. Oh,
Yeah.
hey, I can read the little fine print now.
Right.
What is going on?
I don't think you can prevent that from happening. I think it's happening automatically through some feature. I don't know any more now, Greg M is asking, are you logged into a YouTube account? In my case, yes, I'm always logged into a YouTube account. Brian, are you?
Oh, yes.
And I have a premium YouTube account. I pay for it. So, and I still have that happening.
I have also noticed that, and I think it's simply just a YouTube thing. I don't think there's any way you can shut the door.
Alex, do you not think that the browser has anything to do with it?
No, I think it all has to do with who recorded the video, what quality the video is recorded in, because the video may not have been recorded in anything but up to like 480 or 720. Sometimes if I watch a really old video, it only go up to 480.
Well, that's true if the video is not available in a higher density, but we're having this experience with live stream. Brian just demonstrated it right now. He had it showing as automatic resolution, and it was at 720, and he could manually choose a higher number.
I'll give you an example. If I watch something through the YouTube app on my tablet, on my iPad, 99% of the time it will choose 720.
Yeah.
Even if 1080 is available. I don't know why it does that. It's a YouTube app. thing. Because now I can't. Now can I tell the difference between 720 and 1080 on my 70-inch tablet? No,
Right.
but I'm just saying it happens.
Right. Well, I think everyone's saying, oh, Ran Israel here is saying he got some buffering, but I'm still showing drop frame 0. So I'm thinking that might be on his end.
Yeah, I see Wintermute says auto means let YouTube decide.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, let me catch up to see. I was telling Doug to use it to resolve IP address domain names rather than ping. No problem. 1E100 equals Google ping-a. So ping-a probably gives, does it resolve the domain name? That's your DNS server. Your server is Comcast. NS lookup is interactive. Type NS lookup, enter the type address. So I have done that. Comcast name for the Comcast name server, not the resolved name for that numeric IP address. What is my IP address? I'm familiar with that. This is what happens when you open up the networking Pandora box. Yeah. You logged in. Bitrate may change in real time according to network traffic. Now you're seeing my bitrate on the top of the screen now. It's been displayed through this whole show. Auto means let YouTube decide. It makes decisions based on it, not you. So now, Wintermute, is this your deduction, or have you found documentation about that? And have you found documentation that means the browser is not at all involved in that selection? And I'm wondering about if the browser was involved, and the browser could take into consideration the load on your computer, what else your computer is doing at the time. What resolution is my monitoring of the live stream coming in at? Let's go look at that. I think it's here on this tab. If I go look at my resolution is at 1080. Right. And I didn't make a choice, and my computer is certainly pretty busy, but my computer is very capable. And you know what? When I see the lower resolution, that's usually on Baby Beast. I don't know that I've ever noticed that on Big Beast. Does Kerry even broadcast in 1080p? I thought he has bandwidth issues. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does 1080p. I think he has tried 4K, which would be
because all of his cameras support 4K, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
he has tried 4K, which I think is totally pointless for what the content that he's streaming, and me for that matter. I just don't see that it's useful to anybody.
Yeah.
And Rick confirms, yeah, he does. Let's see, Al Neo, what are you showing us here? Choose live encoder settings, bit rates, and resolutions. Yeah, I can make choices for bit rate on my end. I don't feel that I really understand that very well. Basically, yes, but not very well. As you see at the top of your screen, I'm at 5,900, 5,800 kilobits per second. And when I do a test through XSplit, it'll show that I'm capable of I think I've seen 12,000, I think I've seen 16,000, but typically it automatically drops it down to lower when I actually start live streaming. Okay, I just have his stream in the background while I do other things. I never look at the resolution Kerry was sending. My auto on Doug selected 720. Try speedtest.net. Well, I have been doing that today. I'm not sure if Bobby was addressing that to me. Okay, it's time to put this to bed. El Neo, YouTube will automatically transcode your live stream to create many different output formats so all of your viewers on many devices and networks can watch. Yes, I'm aware of that. Okay. Say goodbye to the audience, please, gentlemen.
Goodbye.
All right. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm going to go ahead and end the Zoom session. Bada boom, bada bing. There's that. Click, and then get ready for this button so I don't leave you on a black screen as long as I do sometimes. Here's an email address. What I like to do on this channel is to respond to questions sent in by email or in the comments on videos or in the chat room, and so that we can dive into issues that people bring to the table for us. For myself and the other people involved, we enjoy doing that. So I hope that's been useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.